Welcome to the Dash Mindset Podcast. I'm Sherry Zievenbergen. You were born, you're gonna die, and your adventure is your dash in between. So make the most of it. Unlock your potential in all aspects of your dash by embracing your uniqueness and living in a way that's authentic to you, not by doing more things, but by focusing on the right things. I'm a former corporate leader turned coach who's on my own journey, and I'm passionate about helping you on your journey too. So on the podcast, we'll explore how to live authentically by deciphering who you truly are and what you truly want. Are you ready to take a step toward designing your dash? Someday doesn't actually exist, so let's do it now. Hello, thank you so much for being here. Today, my ask of you is to think about the last time you said, I just don't have time. Now just isn't a good time. I'll do that when things slow down. Next month will be better. Next month won't be as busy. Or maybe it's something like, I'll do that someday. We all have at some point, right? About something. And the thing is, it doesn't even matter if it's something we truly want to do or not. We still have a tendency to think postponement is the best option in a lot of cases. And sometimes we think it's the only option because we think we simply don't have time. We think we simply can't do it, whatever that thing is. There's just too much going on. I was in a conversation recently with someone and this came up. In fact, maybe I've been in 7 different conversations like this recently. And because it's so common, only one is coming to mind right now. But anyway, we both agreed. Whatever it was we were planning to do, we were planning to do lunch, something, and we agreed we needed to plan it for a later date because we're both very busy right now. And it made me think, has there ever been a time when it hasn't been busy? When I have ever felt like, I have so much time. I just have so much time. Who could I spend my time with? What could I do? I wonder how many times I've said, let's meet in a couple weeks, or let's meet after the holidays. Let's meet once school is out. Let's meet once school starts. And it doesn't even matter what the thing is. Like I said, it may be just as likely to happen with something I truly want to do as it is something I'm less excited about. So I wanted to figure it out. What's the deal with that? Why do we so often think I'll do that when things slow down? Because they never actually do. So I knew I had read something about this being an actual psychological thing once, and it is actually a psychological thing. Side note, if you're a psychologist, my apologies, my reference to a psychological thing may be making your ears bleed. So I apologize for that. But nonetheless, I investigated and learned 2 psychologists studied this in 2005. They studied the fact that we all think we're going to have more time later. So the gentlemen were Gal Zauberman and John Lynch Jr. And the illusion, I love the word here, the illusion that we'll have more time later has a name. It's referred to as future time slack. And it's why we think we'll have more time at some point in the future than we do today. And the future could be any time in the future, next week, next month, next year. And sometimes we just leave it as someday I'll have more time. We'll have more time, someday. So it causes us to postpone things, even things we enjoy. It's also referred to as the yes, damn effect, which I think we can all relate to. And so I'll explain why it's called that. How often have you said yes to something that will happen on a future date? Something that really did sound like a good idea at the time. And then when the actual time comes, you have regrets. So you agree to dinner on February 28th? Yeah, that sounds great. It's a plan. Then the week of the dinner comes, and shockingly, you're just as busy as you were when you said yes to the dinner back in December when someone invited you. And you think, damn it, because you overcommitted with this expectation that you would somehow be less busy in February. In December, when you said yes, it seemed reasonable because February was 2 months away. How could you possibly be just as busy in February as you were in December? I mean, it would be after the holidays, but later actually always looks a lot like now. It always does. In fact, this happens to me every time we have a trip planned. And it might be the same for you too. I love trips. I love to travel. It's one of my favorite things ever. Yeah, just today, I looked at my calendar and I thought, damn it, we're going to Spain pretty soon. Now, I realize that the fact that I'm saying, damn it, and we're going to Spain pretty soon is a little confusing. However, we're going in a few weeks and I'm ecstatic and a bit frantic inside because I have so much to do before we leave. I didn't have anything on the calendar when we scheduled the trip months ago. But here's the deal. Regardless of the damn it reaction I'm feeling right now, I am so glad it's on the calendar because we're going to Spain. I'm so appreciative we scheduled it when we did, because if we had waited until someday, if we had waited until the right time, our kids would be graduated and we would have never been on a trip to Spain with them. And also, my husband finds amazing deals. So if we hadn't said yes when we did, the deal would have passed. So that's a whole other thing. But still, when something happens like that, we have a tendency to say, oh, someday. Well, the thing might just not come again, ever. So I am absolutely certain once we're on our trip, I will love every moment. Okay, most. I could do without putting my stuff in the nasty trays at the airport. But aside from that, I will love the trip overall. I know I'm going to have zero regrets about the timing of it because there's never a perfect time. Perfect isn't even a thing. I mean, returning from a trip does always kind of suck to some degree. It does, because you're inundated with emails, you're potentially jet lagged, your luggage is likely full of dirty laundry. Yet, I have never returned from a trip and thought, I really shouldn't have done that. We really shouldn't have gone. I should have stayed here and worked. I should have gotten through more emails. If I had stayed home, I'd be caught up in laundry. No, because the little bit of suckiness is worth it. And I'm 100% certain when I'm on my deathbed at some point, I will not be saying, gosh, I really wish we wouldn't have gone to Spain. I mean, I could have gotten so much work done during that time. I could have cleaned out my inbox potentially. So now I'm using a trip as an example because that's what most often comes up for me. And that's something I hear from a lot of people. You know, it's not even worth taking a trip because it's such a challenge to get ready to go, to get ready to come back. But for me, experiences are the most important thing to me. And if they're the most important thing to you too, I encourage you to think about the experience itself and the memory you're going to have from it. So for me, travel is one of the most important things to me. So maybe it's not travel for you. What is it for you? Maybe it's taking ukulele lessons. I mean, who knows? What are some of those things that you've been postponing? What are you telling yourself? It's just not the right time. I just don't have time. Is it a trip? Is it a weekend getaway? Is it dinner with a friend? You may, and likely even will, have a damn it moment when the time actually comes if you schedule something with a friend or whomever you want to actually spend time with. But during the dinner, you're going to have a blast. And after the dinner, you're going to have a memory. And you'll have an even stronger connection. You'll feel better overall. Because you actually need to do things that feel extra, sometimes even luxurious at the time, right? It just feels like, I don't have time. Maybe I shouldn't do this. That's the stuff you really need to do. Those things that feel like you don't have time to do. So who are some of those people you've been meaning to connect with? What are some of those personal goals you've been meaning to get to? You think you'll have time to do later? And what's most important to you? What's truly most important to you? What do you want part of your story to be? Is it a connection with the people most important to you? Is it writing the book that incessant little voice in your head has been telling you to write? Is it opening a boutique? Maybe just playing the ukulele. Like I mentioned, I actually have a friend who took ukulele lessons a few years ago, which I thought was fantastic. Now, did she have a goal to be a professional ukulele person? I don't know what that person is called. Professional ukuleleist? We'll go with that. I don't know if she did or not. I don't think so. But regardless, she just wanted to do it. And she did. And she had fun. And it's not something that, she probably felt like she had extra time for. So whatever it is for you, I encourage you to take one tiny step toward it. Put just one tiny step on your calendar. If it's a trip, put the trip on your calendar. And then you'll just have to go, right? You'll have the tickets. You just have to go. You'll figure it out. And even if you say, damn it, when it's time, you'll ultimately have no regrets. One of my favorite quotes is, 20 years from now, you will be more disappointed by the things you didn't do than by the ones you did. That may or may not have been said by Mark Twain. It's up for debate. I'm not sure, which is the case with a lot of quotes. But anyway, regardless of who said it, I love that quote. It's one of my favorites. And it's something I try to remind myself of every time I schedule something, whether it's dinner with someone, coffee with someone, a big trip, whatever it is. Every time I say, damn it, when something comes up on my calendar, I remind myself, hey, I don't want to regret not doing whatever this thing is. And I'm constantly reminding myself that the perfect time just does not actually exist. We all get 24 hours a day, and we choose how we spend that time. Sometimes it doesn't feel like it's a choice, but ultimately how we choose to use that time is a choice. So someday doesn't actually exist. I say this in my intro. I say someday doesn't actually exist. And I still need to remind myself. So what's one thing you're waiting for someday to do? What's one small step you can take this week toward that thing? If it is a trip, you don't need to plan the whole trip. Just buy the tickets. Just set money aside for tickets. Just have a conversation about wherever you would go. Take one small step and be brutally honest with yourself. Will it really be a better time later? If you are postponing it now, will you really have less to do later? Are you actually going to have ample time? Because your life won't magically slow down. It doesn't slow down for any of us. And if you don't want to wait for someday to start making space for what matters most, ask yourself, what's one thing you're done waiting for? You're just done waiting for it. You want to do it now. I hope this was helpful. I hope this inspired you to do something that incessant voice in your head is telling you to do. And if you enjoyed this episode, I would so appreciate it if you left a review. And if you're feeling like, damn it, Sherry, I don't even know the thing I'm done waiting for, let's chat. I would love to chat. My favorite thing is helping people figure out their things. The things most important to them, what they're good at, what they truly enjoy, what really matters in their one dash. So my details are in the show notes. Let me know if you'd like to chat, and I will see you again soon. Thanks so much for listening to the Dash Mindset Podcast. If you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe on your favorite podcast player, tell your friends, and leave us a review. Follow me on my social media platforms highlighted in the show notes, and get in touch with me at thedashmindset.com. Share the topics you'd like me to explore in future episodes. Thanks again for listening to the Dash Mindset Podcast. We'll see you next time. Design and differentiate your dash your way and make today amazing.